Jeffrey. All right, we're not done with that conversation. We've talked to the technical people, the ICT people, the techies. Let's talk to a lawyer. Kevin Udim joins us. Mr. Udim, thank you so much for coming on the program. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, I looked at the Constitution, and there are a couple of things as far as the appointment of the INEC chairman is concerned, even in the third schedule. First, the age, evidence based on age. So there's more that is fact-based. The issue of age, whether the person has to be maybe above 40, the other commissioners, 12 of them, has to be around 35. The other part has to do with non-partisanship as at the time of appointment. So I don't know whether there is any law that says a INEC chairman should never at any point in history be partisan or belong to a particular party. But for me, the more important part is the qualitative element of what is required to be the INEC chairman. I think unquestionable integrity. And integrity has to do with character. It has to do with the ability to stand by a word, not lie, and all of that. So help us interpret what is playing out with this, because at the heart of this is the independence of INEC, whether INEC is truly an independent institution, and whether the chairman of INEC is truly an independent-minded person who is not influenced by the ruling party or any other party here. So help us with the legalese here. Let's say it is proven that it's his account. Let's also say it is proven that it is not his account. What are we going to perceive this according to law?
Well, legally speaking, the chairman of INEC is expected to be non-partisan. He's not expected to be a member of any political party. He's not also expected to have sympathy for any political party, so that he can be fair in his judgments in INEC. You know, it is not hot right now, but very soon it's going to be hot when the election results will start coming in. And so we need someone that will be firm, someone that will stand by the law, and someone that will not take side with any political party whatsoever. And that is why the law, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and even the Electoral Act requires that the chairman of INEC should be a man who has no interest in politics. And that's why if you look back, you remember Professor Humphrey Mosu. Professor Humphrey Mosu, I'm not sure of any political party that he belonged. I have not heard of him having sympathy for any political party. He was appointed from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, because he had integrity, because he was a professor of political science, and his integrity was beyond reproach. I mean, it was such that the appointing body would vouch for his integrity. And we saw what played out in the June 12th election, even though that election did not give us democracy, but the role of the umpire, the role of Professor Mosu remains something that is being discussed till today. And that is the kind of person that we need as a chairman of INEC. And therefore, if the allegation against Professor Amupitan is anything to go by, if that allegation is true, then it goes right into the integrity, the personality, especially going by the fact that INEC made a press release denying that account. And I listened to the ICT manager in INEC. He said he went to the INEC chairman and asked him, the INEC chairman says he doesn't know anything about Twitter. And I'm surprised that the INEC chairman would not know anything about Twitter. And we are asking for an election that is supposed to be more of electronic based. We are expected to embrace technology very seriously. I'm surprised that the chairman of INEC would say that he doesn't know what is Twitter, but that's on the lighter note. We expect the chairman of INEC to come out clean on this. If you had opened an account in 2022, that was way before your appointment. There's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, being a member of the social media community is an aspect of the expression of the rights of the citizen, you know, freedom of expression. You have the rights. It's a constitutional right to have an account. So there's nothing wrong with that. But what we expect should be for the INEC chairman to say, yes, I opened an account in 2022. I'm a professor of law. I communicate with the international community also. I post my work also, on social media platforms. But I have no interest whatsoever in politics. I have no sympathy whatsoever for any political party. That is what I expect the INEC chairman to say. But it is left for him to say whether it is true that he had opened this account or not. As it is now, he's the only person that can say the truth about this. I don't even think INEC is in a position to tell us the truth about this because INEC was not there. INEC is not the person, the body that opened this account. So INEC will have second-hand information.
My apologies.
The person that
Yes, if you can hear me, my apologies. God, time. So I don't know whether, because that's why I kept doubling down on asking the ICT gentleman whether or not at any point in time the INEC chairman has a Twitter account. And his statement was, no, the man doesn't have. That the man was even asking him, the prof was asking him what is his Twitter account. Now, I had to go back to the Constitution because listening to learned minds like yours and several other persons, I've learned to be to be more evidence-based, as you guys say, the learned fellows. So what does it take to be an INEC chairman? I want to go back to it because it's important here for Nigerians to understand what is going on, whether we need to redraft our constitution or amend the wordings of our constitution. The Independent National Electoral Commission, let's even accept without conceding that he even was a member of a political party, because I want you to intervene legally now. Let's accept without conceding. He said he's not a member of a political party, but let's even accept without conceding that he was a member of a political party, or he had sympathy for a political party, or he actually did retweet or responded to that tweet for for whatever reason, supporting the candidacy of that particular party. Now, this is what the third schedule of the Constitution says. The Independent National Electoral Commission shall comprise the following members: a chairman, who shall be the Chief Electoral Commissioner, 12 members to be known as National Commissioners. The next part is what is important. A member of the Commission shall, 1, be non-partisan, and a person of unquestionable integrity. And then part B says be not less than 40 years and all of that. What is the law saying here? Is the law saying here that at the time of appointment, you must not be partisan? Or at any point in time in your life's history, you shouldn't have been partisan? What is the law saying here?
Well, the only interpretation you can give to that section is that at the time of your appointment, you are not partisan. You are not a member of any political party. You don't have sympathy for any political party. Remember that being a member of a political party or having sympathy for a political party is not an offense. In fact, it is something that the Constitution even recognizes and then encourages citizens to have space. However, at the point of appointment, if you are a member of a political party or you have sympathy for any political party, you are expected to reject that appointment because you are to sit as a referee. And so you cannot be a referee in a football match and you are inside, you are wearing the jersey of a club that is going to also play in the match that you are officiating. And therefore, if the INEC chairman had been a member of any political party at the point of his appointment, he was expected to say that to the Senate or say that to the person that is appointing him, oh, sorry, Your Excellency, I have sympathy for this political party, and for that reason, I think I'm qualified, or I do not want to be appointed because the Constitution, remember, he's a professor of law, and he's expected to understand the law very well. And so he should have even cited the Constitution to the president to say, Your Excellency, by this section of the Constitution, I hold on strongly to my membership of this political party, and I'm not ready to trade it for any appointment. And to that extent, he shouldn't have been confirmed. Now, if you want to look at the tweets by the chairman of INEC, he said victory is sure. That can be interpreted to mean that he had sympathy for the APC, assuming that that account is correct. I'm still finding it very difficult to have the explanation given by INEC about that account. That account has the correct email account of the learned professor. That account has the correct phone number of the learned professor. So INEC needs to do more than the press release to convince Nigerian citizens that the learned professor knows nothing or knew nothing whatsoever about that account. Like I said, the INEC chairman is the only person, in fact, he's the most important person in this direction to let us know whether he has that account or he does not have. INEC does not really know much about it at this point. Now, it takes me back to 1974 when there was the Watergate scandal. President Nixon was accused of having authorized the burglary of the office of the opposition political party. What was his first reaction? He denied it. Nobody has ever accepted things like this. But when the hits came so much on the shoulders of President Nixon, he accepted it and then resigned. Now, what I expect now is for the forensic experts to investigate further, to let Nigerians know if it was truly Professor that owned that account. If he was the person that owns that account, I hope that the learned professor is going to do the same thing that President Nixon did, the 37th president of the United States of America did in 1974 by honorably, turning in his resignation so as to allow that institution to be governed by someone who is apolitical and has no interest whatsoever or sympathy whatsoever, for any political party. He is still presumed to be very innocent of this at this point. But for the fact that the chairmanship of INEC requires someone whose name will not drag the commission too much into the media space, by this time we should be talking about how prepared INEC is to deploy technology to the election. We should be talking about how we're going to have free and fair election. We shouldn't even be talking about the personality of the chairman of INEC. So he still presumes to be very innocent at this point, but I think that he needs to come out clean. I saw him grant interview the other day to Ruben Abati of Arise Television. Perhaps there is need for the INEC chairman himself to call for press conference of all the media houses in this country and clearly address this issue, and then be ready to take questions, openly uncensored questions, and then provide answers that will be satisfactory to Nigerian citizens. Because at this point, if anybody says that the explanation given by INEC has resolved this issue, that explanation has not resolved this issue. And I feel that INEC is also writing too much lately in their press releases, 3 pages, 4 pages. The more they write, the more they expose things, the more they bring questions into the arena. So I feel that there is need for the learned professor of law, in view of the position that he occupies, to call for a press conference, call channels, call Arise, call every media house in this country, have a conversation with them, be ready to take questions, and from there we'll know truly whether the INEC chairman is clean of this or not. Because for me, if he knows something about the account, the fact that he has denied now puts a question mark about the integrity of the person that is supposed to be an umpire, and that is not very good for our democracy.
Well, Mr. Kemini Udim, it's an ongoing conversation. It's one that must concern everyone. And I think it's important to have an independent party doing this forensic analysis. I think the INEC ICT director also talked about a third party. But this is a very important one, and we have to thank you for your time, Mr. Kemini Udim, a legal practitioner. We appreciate your insights on this matter.
Thanks for having me.
We'll take a moment now, and when we return, security is our next port of call. Stay with us.